convinced that Chelsea would win, and he's convinced that Man U would win, Prof is prepared to put some money on the table. Okay, if you win, company, take this. Let Agalga take X amount of money if his team wins. Most of the time, those monies, all right, they don't even send those monies out of the sport betting club. They end up, they spend the money right there, okay? But in our scenario, the youth engage in betting because they are unemployed. They think that by going to bet, they stand the chance of making some money to cater for their basic needs. So you see, we must draw the distinction here. And that is why the business of sports betting in our country, you know, is becoming very huge.
In fact, we have 22 registered betting companies in Ghana now.
So for me, at the heart of the problem is the failures, you know, with the management of our economy by the government. All right? Lawyer Martin made the point that, look, when they booted NDC out of power in 2016, I think the clarion call was that we were mismanaging the economy. We didn't know how to step up production, industrialization, and so on and so forth. So in the event that President Akufo-Addo became president, Ghana was going to move. There was going to be a paradigm shift from production to, no, sorry, from taxation to production. Today, what are we seeing?
18 months.
Sanitary pads are now taxed. Sanitary pads. And when women in this country, who form the majority of our population, decide to protest, what is the reaction of Ghanaians? What is the reaction of the government? Sanitary pads are also now being taxed. You see how serious the matter has become? Alfred?
You see, when this matter came up, when the AGI, for instance, also said that they support this tax, the luxury tax, because then it was meant to protect local industries who were also engaged in the production of sanitary parts, so that it would discourage the increased levels of importation of foreign sanitary parts into the market, which is also collapsing their businesses. So I recall that the AGI kicked against this whole call for the sanitary parts, the luxury tax, to be abolished.
You see,
how about that?
This wasn't even categorized as luxury tax. Here we're talking about, GRA said they categorized the sanitary pads under finished products. That was the argument of the GRA, finished products. And so when you bring them in, you are importing finished products into our country, you need to support local industries by ensuring that there is some tax component on the importation of such items. But the point is, we should have questioned ourselves whether local industry had the capacity to produce enough sanitary pads for our women and girls. All right? We didn't do any research. We allowed ourselves to be carried away that we needed to support local industry. Today, go and check. If local industry was up to the task, you should go to the market and ask, what is the price of sanitary pads now? Girls can no longer afford them. Do you now understand why, when we were in government, we introduced a policy for the distribution of free sanitary pads? At the time, we were ridiculed. Today, go to the secondary schools and see. Girls cannot attend school because when it is that time of the month, they are too shy to come out.
Round up for me,
because
please.
They get messed up in the process. So it's a shame that we are taxing, you know, things like sanitary pads, and now we're saying the youth can go to hell. Those who are unemployed. When you by the grace of God, you win lottery, you bet and you get something small for your pocket and your family. Government will say, bring me 10% of, please.
You see, Professor Jampo, there's a social side of this as well, which I know you have been looking into. Beyond the impact that this is having legitimately on young people who are engaged in there, the social side of how this is also getting, for instance, people with head stories of people using their school fees, family money, and all to bet, and then its attendant effects as well. How should that be considered in having a conversation like this to arrive at an ultimate decision that would also satisfy all parties?
No, but I think James took the wind out of my sail when he said that, I mean, betting and gaming for us is a source of employment for people. Elsewhere, people bet and game because they want to show off that they have the wealth. But for us, it is people's full-time employment. If government has failed in providing employment to people, and people are using this as a source of employment, then government should rather be commending them for being, quote and unquote, that kind of ingenious in trying to fend for themselves because of government's inability to create the enabling environment for them to gain access to employment. See, employment is actually an economic right, and people have the right to employment. It's just that some of these things, nobody wants to go to court to demand that that right be respected. People are being ingenious and trying to fend for themselves, and I believe that government should rather help them instead of doing things that will be punitive against them. But you see, this fits into the whole idea of nuisance taxes that were promised that they were not. It wasn't going to happen. So many things that were said in the lead up to the 2016 elections that have not been respected. If you like, I can go through a few of them and then come back to this nuisance taxes. I can develop Ghana without borrowing. The money is here. Who said that? I'll transform Ghana in 18 months. Who said this? I won't operate a family and friends government. Who said this? I will fight corruption with the ANAS principle. Who said this? I will make the Kole Lagoon and Odo River tourist sites. Who said this? I will build a factory in every district. Who said this? I will give each constituency $1 million every year. Who said this? I will arrest the dollar. Who said this? The hikes in fuel prices will be a thing of the past. Who said this? I will make Accra the cleanest city in the whole of Africa. Who said this? I will build 111 district hospitals in 18 months. Who said this? I will build 350 new secondary schools. Who said this? We will never go to the IMF for a bailout. I will build a cathedral without the taxpayers' money to fulfill my personal pledge to. You see, all these things were said, but things have been done in the contrary. In the same way, we were promised that some of the taxes that were leveled, or some of the taxes that were slapped on us, were nuisance taxes. I mean, for the first time, we had nuisance taxes in the lexicon of our political parlance, and it was those who were seeking to get power who threw it to into the body politic. And now, even though we said we would not inflict nuisance taxes, we are now bringing 10% on people who are just involved in gaming and betting and who are just using that as a basis of fending for ourselves. Look, I believe in aggressive pursuit of policies aimed at getting more money for the government. I believe in the need for the government to widen the tax nets so that not only us, the civil servants, would always be carrying the burden of funding government activities through taxation that they easily levy on us. So we should widen the tax nets. But we are widening the tax nets to get more money for what? What do we need all the resources for?
Right.
Somebody, the last time I asked this question, somebody didn't think it was a rhetorical question. We are widening the tax nets and getting all the resources for what? Are we getting the resources for development, or we are getting the resources such that it would slip? We are always fetching water with baskets. And so until we begin to fetch water with buckets and not baskets, then our effort to widen the tax nets would come to naught. What are we going to do with all the resources we are looking for?
Right.
We try to get all. President Akufo-Addo said that yet Sikaso Nanso Okomodi. That's what President Akufo-Addo said. And so if he said this, and then you see people hiding millions of dollars in. And yesterday, somebody I met
while you round up for me.
I'm running up. Somebody told me that, look, if you don't have millions of dollars under your bed, it means you are poor. You see, if you have millions of dollars in your bank account, you are poor. But you see, you should have enough in a bank account and then show off with some also under your bed.
Professor Ransford
to show
Jampo.
that. So we should, listen, we would have to broaden the tax net. But as we broaden the tax net to bring in more income, we should be sure that we seal the leakages and slippages so that we would have enough resources for development. Otherwise, our effort to do some of these things will come to naught.
You're still live here on Key Point. We're live on the 3FM 92.7. I see the many messages that for you, our viewers, have also sent. Over 1,000 of them. I acknowledge all of them and I thank you. We'll be back shortly after this quick break because we're very interactive on this. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Swiss cupcakes, simply irresistible. Try one today.
This advert is FDA approved.
Waka Ponchinabo.
Waka Ponchini ya bigo.
Mabagana. No, Mabagana. Who this guy do over there? They get them from go free. Mabagana. Hey, I do this in here.
Onye mi bako sad senya.
Hey, woman, baby, I'm calling down Wabze.
Offer. This is Bigo Cola. Tasting here big. This is so refreshing. You've never changed in value.
Oh no. Let's make the party begin.
Let's go.
Bigo Cola. Bigo Cola. You don't want them. They come and they want them. Cola for the party. Bigo for your hunger.
Enjoy the big refreshing moment with Bigo Cola.
Bigo! This advert is FDA approved.
Let's do
All sporting disciplines matter on Warm-Up Plus.
Warm-Up Plus, the most exciting hour on TV. So join the conversation and get updated.
Get sports news, visit exciting places, and be in the know on Warm-Up Plus. Let's go, Diana.
We're just getting started.
We're just getting warmed up.
Catch me, Yao Ufusulabi.
And me, Aniela Alote.
Warm-Up Plus, new season coming soon on TV3.
Welcome back to Key Point on TV3, also live on 3FM 92.7. I acknowledge the messages sent all throughout the show by all of you. Thank you very much. We try to make this program as interactive as possible. Mutaru Mumuni Muftao, Executive Director of West Africa Center for Counter-Extremism, says that your guests this morning in studio and on Zoom have ensured that this conversation about the Niger situation is contextualized in the proper sense. I commend all of them. I'm just hoping that the ECOWAS commissioner who joined would hear the voices spoken today to influence ECOWAS's decision going forward. Thank you very much. This one from Bernard Mona says that while it may sound romantic to say that betting breeds a lazy youth, it must be noted that majority of the youth simply cannot secure jobs. The youth not wanting to engage in social vices, armed robbery, etc., venture into betting as a means of survival. Secondly, when government taxes bet wins, will government compensate for bet losses? you say. And also from you, Dr. Clementa Park, and then also this one here says that one of the questions is, what are the reasons that these coup makers have given for the coups? Have they been able to solve those problems they claimed as the reasons? This is coming from the MPP, says communications team member, I didn't get the name, Musa Abatwa in Asawase. Thank you for your message, as well as the over 1,000 of you who have sent us messages. Thank you very much. Fortunately, I may not be able to read. In fact, I cannot read all the messages, but I acknowledge every one of them. Thank you for making time to contribute to the conversation. Ms. Agaga, we were rounding up. In fact, we have just had to leave. The Bank of Ghana situation in 30 seconds.
Yes.
30 seconds, quickly.
We have written to the bank under the Right to Information Act and demanded that they furnish us with some vital information. Now, let me start with the justification. First of all, we're in very terrible economic times. We think that the Bank of Ghana head office project is a grandiose project which doesn't affect the economic realities that we are confronted with. Now, Alfred, to conclude, we are told, we have information that the cost of the project keeps changing. It started from $80 million. Now it's $250 million. We need to know.
James Agaga is a member of parliament for the Bosa North constituency, the ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament. Lawyer Martin Kwebo is leader of one of 3 individual bondholder groups, and then also the convener for the Kokorilo demonstration, and then also private legal practitioner. Professor Ransford Jampo is a professor of political science at the University of Ghana, Legon. Also joining us, Colonel Festus Abuaje, a security analyst, and then also conflict resolution expert. Fatima Abubakar, Deputy Information Minister. Thank you very much. And also joining us on Zoom was the ECOWAS Commissioner in charge of peace, security, and law enforcement, Ambassador Musa as well. On behalf of the rest of the team, led by the production head, Tokwamina Hazel, thank you so much for staying with us on Key Point. I am Alfred Okanse. Have a great weekend.